Okay, so a couple weeks ago, I saw all these headlines saying Kodak was sold, Kodak bought by private firm, blah, blah, blah. But did they really? And what does this mean for film? Well, let's talk about it. Before we get into it, I'm Keaton from Metal Fingers, where we talk all things film photography and even share some mediocre photos that I took myself. Before I attempt to educate you on the state of corporate greed, there's a couple things that we should cover first, so let's get to those. For the sake of ease, the company we know as Kodak or Eastman Kodak makes all of the film, chemicals, accessories, etc. Kodak Alaris, from what I understand, was created out of the ashes of one of Kodak's many bankruptcies. Alaris is known to sell document scanners, retail printing, paper, and chemicals, and resells Eastman's film. Kodak Alaris is basically a legally mandated middleman with a guaranteed monopoly that they are free to use to extract rent out of the work of others. On August 1st, Alaris released a blog saying that they've been acquired by Kingswood Capital Management, a Los Angeles-based private equity focused on the buyout of middle-market businesses and has significant experience in driving value for consumer and industrial service businesses. Marketing jargon aside, they seemingly have been bought out by a not-so-loved daddy big bucks. Or as Reddit user The Bashful would put it, we're rapacious vultures who tear companies apart in pursuit of a quick dollar without a single thought for the history or lives we destroy. No comment on that. Kingswood Capital, as per their website, has worked with the likes of G Fuel, World Market, Mountain Equipment Company, and many others. But what does this mean for film photography, at least on a surface level? Well, honestly, I'm not sure as of now. Alaris doesn't really have much involvement in film photography at all, other than being a sales arm for Eastman Kodak. While I'm not hopeful that Kingswood will have consumers in the best interest for film sales, if Alaris goes under or intentionally bankrupts, it would mean Eastman would sell directly to consumer in addition to their motion picture products. Yes, obviously there are benefits to Kodak Alaris being a middleman and their relevance in other industries, but in my opinion, for film photographers, they don't serve a huge visual purpose to us. Most of their business consists of them licensing cheap products in China like batteries and speakers and Bluetooth products. After doing a bit more digging, Kingswood Capital Management is not necessarily what most people think it is. Kingswood specializes in operations investment specifically. They invest when the business side is good, but operations are lacking substantially. They come in and fix operations, the company becomes more efficient, then they sell the more healthy business to long-term holders. They are much different from the private equity plunder model where they buy a failing business just to liquidate or gut it for different parts or convert it to a different industry, etc. Because of this, I think the only way Kingswood would make a return on their investment is if they can turn Alaris into something with some more realistic long-term value instead of selling some more cheap, gimmicky products, I guess. Alaris doesn't have much to liquidate. They don't have a ton of factories or many patents of real value. So to me, there is really only one way for Kingswood to go from here. Lean into the rights they own to sell Kodak still film and licensing the Kodak name for consumer goods. In order for Kingswood to make money, they need to create a growing, sustainable, efficient still film market, which obviously has our best interests in mind, at least to some extent. Will the prices go up in the future? Probably, but they need to still keep in mind that they need to create a stable market and keep the long-term demand high. Otherwise, no one will buy Alaris from Kingswood, and thus it would be a massive failure for them. With all that being said, they do have a 1.4-star review on Google, with many disgruntled people claiming they have no care for their consumers, are running their subsidiaries into the ground, etc., etc. So take all this with a grain of salt. Also, keep in mind that I am a moron in this realm. I did not go to business school, and I'm not privy to the historical relevance or precedence of these Kodak events, nor do I understand the ins and outs or total business model of private equity companies. I went to film and journalism school, so keep that in mind when I'm reporting some of the business details. Now, what's my final take on this? Honestly, I am not sure yet. And to be truthfully honest, I think it'll remain to be seen for a bit still. What I do think is a good takeaway is that Kingswood obviously sees some value in Kodak Alaris, which regardless is obviously a good thing. I'm hopeful they carve a path to make it a more sustainable industry, but I'm not holding my breath. I guess I'm hoping for the best, but expecting the worst, which in an indirect way may not be a bad outcome for Eastman Kodak and film photography as a whole. There was multiple statements for both Kodak brands, but honestly, I didn't find much value in them except for one statement that I thought was pretty interesting. Andrew Kovac, the director at Kingswood, said, "We're thrilled to partner with Kodak Moments and Kodak Alaris business unit management teams and employee base, etc., etc." Who? I guess my concern with this statement is how much investment and influence will Kingswood have on Eastman's film production? My guess and hope is that it would be none, but this statement has me a little shaky. While I do think this is probably nothing, and it's partly my confusion with Kodak Eastman and Kodak Alaris's subsidiaries and their channel for distribution when it comes to film, but I do think there is some merit to be questioning how this will affect us as film photographers in the coming months and years. But as of now, I don't think this is too much news, funnily enough. I don't really think we'll see much direct impact, at least for the time being, but it's just something to keep our eyes and ears open about for the future. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this one, guys. Let me know down in the comments if there's anything that I confused or missed. As like I said before, I'm not an expert in this realm, and I'm doing my best to wrap my head around a lot of the legal and business jargon that's going on with Kodak right now. Otherwise, that's going to do it for this one. Until the next one, guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay shooting. Adios.